We're live. We're live.
We're live. We're live. We're here. We're here. Good day to all of you. Whatever time of day you're watching this, we are back on the Bleacher Preacher podcast for another hockey episode here. Trade deadline was yesterday, February 25th. We're recording this on the 26th at 8 p.m. The Golden Knights are on the tube, and so yeah, we're going to dive right into it. And before we do, though, let's introduce the wonderful, the beautiful Jonathan Michael.
Jonathan Michael. Ooh, middle name. So trade deadline, Alex. Usually with the NHL, you'll see a lot of action around deadline season, especially with teams that are in good playoff standing or want to strengthen their roster going down to, come playoff time. So that probably explains why you didn't see much out of, Tampa Bay or a Calgary. And we'll get into those points a little bit later on. But we did see some big names find new homes. We also saw some mid to lower tier deals to kind of help round out some lineups that I also liked as well. So off the top, the big one that a lot of people expected to happen did come was Mark Stone going from the Ottawa Senators to the Vegas Golden Knights. Stone, the top point man for the Senators, now becomes the top point man for the Vegas Golden Knights. Gives them a strong forward presence now, joining Stastny and Pacioretty on the second line, which might as well be a first line for many teams. And now Vegas is embellished with a gluttony of forwards that are highly capable, highly versatile, and I like the direction they're going in by building this team. Part of the deal was Vegas landing Stone on an extension as well, so he's not going to be going anywhere for a while, nor is he going to be a rental. Going back the other way for the Senators, they were able to get top prospect in the Vegas system, puck-moving defenseman Eric Brandstrom. Something about the Senators and their Swedish defenseman. I don't know. It works out good for him, but what stands out to me is Stone didn't really get as much as a return as I thought he could have gotten. I know a lot of teams were expecting a high price tag for a player of Mark Stone's caliber, but for Vegas to only have to give up a top prospect, a roster player, and a second-round pick instead of a first, I thought that was a good move by the Knights and George McPhee. So them not only getting Stone on the deal they got, he comes into now a Stanley Cup window with Marc-Andre Fleury and the rest of the Knights, championship core. They have a window now to win the cup now here for probably 2-3 years while they still have Fleury in his playing prime. And I think it's just a matter of can they take advantage of it. So with that being said, Vegas absolutely knocks it out of the park with this trade. And I like the direction they're going in by trading for these guys and then getting them on an extension. They did with Pacioretty. I know it wasn't a trade, but they were able to lock up Paul Stastny over the offseason as well, along with some other roster players. I believe Shea Theodore signed an extension not too long ago, which basically just leaves William Karlsson as the last big fish to land for the Knights core.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to unpack this as much as I can. So I'm going to start from the very beginning of what you said. So Mark Stone, yes, amazing piece for the Golden Knights. Contract year for him down in Ottawa, and they kind of knew he was on the way out. So it was either move him or lose him. They did the right thing in definitely moving him, especially for a player of his caliber. I understand that Brandstrom and the picks that they got, probably, and Oscar Lindbergh, who actually scored tonight, whoop whoop, isn't that big of a deal for them. But McPhee and Foley were very vocal about saying that earlier, before the trade deadline, the asking price was way too high. I mean, they were probably asking for a Glass, a Haig, and some other stuff there. So the price came down to somewhere that the Knights liked, and they took advantage of it. So that's definitely something to applaud them on. And I applaud them for making sure that they knew that Mark Stone was going to sign that extension. I think that's a very clutch thing of them to do. They didn't want a rental. And also, again, McPhee was very vocal about that. For Ottawa, yes, they're poised to do really big things here for the next couple of years. and just want to I love it for them. They're doing a great job on the front office thing. The one thing I will critique the Golden Knights on, I don't think that the top six forward line was the biggest issue they needed to address. I think you don't have a number one defenseman in Vegas. Schmidt's been underperforming. Merrill, Theodore, Colin Miller was a healthy scratch a couple days ago. Something's wrong there on that blue line. I mean, even you see it in the scores. I mean, they've lost a couple games in the last couple of weeks, 6-3. You can't win and give up 6 goals. So maybe the Knights are thinking, well, we'll attack our lack of defense with just more offense. And then I will also say that I do like the move of putting Stone on that line with Pacioretty and Stasny. You've got 2 playmakers and a just a proven goal scorer. So it's going to be, Stone's just going to get plenty of chances. And of course they can move that around, but yeah, it's already looking good for the Knights. And, I think another thing that people will say is that they should have addressed the backup goalie issue. Subban's not bad. It's just that he hasn't had a lot of help in front of him.
Well, maybe that stems from, like you said, the inconsistencies from the defensive core in front of him. And when Vegas looks at, a Winnipeg, a Calgary, a Nashville, teams are in front of them. I don't think 1 or 2 defensemen coming in is necessarily going to sway the needle in their favor against guys like these. So McPhee probably looks at it from a sense of, well, let's bolster our forward core. Let's get more consistent on our top 6, top 9, so we can keep coming at these teams in waves, much like we were able to last year. Let's change out some parts. Let's upgrade in some areas. And I think that was probably the safer line of thinking to go along. And I know we had touched on the backup goalie thing before. Maybe it was just one of those things where they didn't feel the need to have to pay for it. But now you're betting on Andre Fleury staying, not just fairly healthy, but staying healthy along with being, elite level goaltender, because he's going to have to steal some games along the way. And they'll also have to work in some rest while staying in the playoff position that they're in right now, because I believe they're sitting 3rd in the Pacific behind the Sharks and Flames, but they're still in good enough position where they don't have to worry about necessarily the wild card teams catching up to them, because they're both coming out of the Central, whereas the rest of the Pacific is an utter California dumpster fire.
Yeah, no, for sure. So as of 8:11 p.m. Pacific on February 26th, the Golden Knights have 69 points. Nice. And then the Sharks are at 82. Calgary's running away with it at 87. Now, of course, that may change, but the good thing is that the next closest team in the Wild, I mean, if they even want to touch that 3rd spot in the Pacific, is Arizona with 63. Arizona's been kind of overperforming right now, so we'll see if they can actually keep that up. I'll be honest with you, as a Knights fan / hater, because I'm going to use that word loosely. I'd love if Arizona just came out of nowhere and was just like, haha, you're not getting in the playoffs, we are. But I don't see that happening. But yeah, you're completely right. I think they're just trying to bolster the offense, and good thing that they got him signed up for eight for the extension. One thing I will also say about Brandstrom, because I definitely didn't say this earlier, or about the Knights actually, is I'm glad that they got the for sure talent. We don't know what Brandstrom's going to become. His potential is very high, but you still don't know if that's going to turn into something. He could flame out tomorrow. We don't know that. So the Golden Knights said, hey, we'll take a gamble and take for something that we know is going to work with Mark Stone.
Well, that's the gamble with prospects, is you want to sell high when you can before these guys, tend to taper off a little bit, start to show some, I don't want to say holes in their game, but maybe some things don't look as bright as they initially were advertised to be. So again, credit to selling high when they needed to. And now this is going to be a trade of, okay, who's going to win now over time? Yes, the short-term winner will be the Vegas Golden Knights, but we'll have to see long-term if Brandstrom does turn into an all-star caliber player. Staying on the topic of the Ottawa Senators, they also moved out centerman Matt Duchene. who was acquired last year via trade from the Colorado Avalanche. And then, as you know, the Senators went through much disarray the past season and a half and now are selling off. They send Duchesne out to Columbus in exchange for a package of picks and players. But Duchesne joining a pretty deep Columbus squad now, which, coming out of the Metro when you have a Pittsburgh, a Washington, amongst the other teams in the East when you get to the Atlantic as well. Columbus now looks like a dangerous player now coming out of the East, if they can make it into the second round.
Yeah, I like this trade for Columbus more than any other thing. I think Ottawa. I don't remember what the trade was from Colorado, but I mean, Colorado's probably snickering over in the Rocky Mountains, going like, "Haha!" Like we definitely, kind of stole this away from you guys. So I mean, okay, here comes the dog. Hold on. Hold, please.
They have a dog. Also, no disrespect to the Metro. I did forget to mention the New York Islanders, who are actually in first. Well, I was going to get to them at some point, but they're running the Metro right now, which is going to be a pretty big deal here going down the stretch because as a very cluttered division, and this was a move Columbus had to make if they want to kind of keep their spot because also Carolina right there at 72 points, Pittsburgh 72 points, Washington at 77. It's a very cluttered mess in the Metro right now, which is going to make for a great stretch run, and maybe Duchesne will be able to put him over the top here, in the last month and a half of the season.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm back now, guys. Yeah. So I mean, Ottawa's just kind of selling and getting rid of everything, and yeah, and they also got Ryan Zingle from the Senators. Poor Anthony Duclair can't stay in one spot for longer than like 6 months. It feels like. So you're probably going to mention that eventually, John, but still, I beat you to it. So yeah, I mean, Columbus is definitely poised to make a run here, and I like the moves they made. I mean, it also sounded like Artemi Panarin was going to get moved here at the deadline, and that didn't happen. Maybe after they acquired Zingle and Duchesne, they were like, you know what? Let's keep them put and see if we can make a run at this thing.
Which was probably the right decision because there was talking about Panarin and Bobrovsky having to go together, which was going to demand a big return. So maybe Columbus says, yeah, these guys might be expiring FAs here, so let's just run with it and, take a wild stab at it because once you do get to the playoffs, anything goes.
Yeah,
we've seen crazier things happen. So I like Columbus going for it. I like Duchesne's game. It's just, is he now going to show up for the playoffs? Because, when he was in Colorado, it was very up and down most of the time and never really could catch a break there. And when he gets to Ottawa, they have their team drama now. Columbus, yeah, John Tortorella, he's a hard ass, straight up. The guy runs a very, by the book program. So is he going to be able to reel in Duchesne and get him to play two-way hockey, team hockey, and make the Blue Jackets an even better team?
Yeah, that's really the biggest question, right? I mean, I think the Duchesne's locker room troubles, is the way I'm going to put it, are pretty well documented. Don't really know what kind of guy he was there in Ottawa, but I mean, it clearly sounds like, yeah, the Ottawa was like, hey, we just want something in return for him. But no, yeah, you're completely right about that. I think Tortorella is going to kind of have this team on a tight leash. And another trade that I do want to add here that I like that Columbus made is acquiring Keith Kincaid from the Devils for a 5th round pick. Just kind of solidifies that help behind Bobrovsky, making sure that they've got a legitimate backup goalie there. I don't remember off the top of my head who their backup goalie was before that, but wasn't anyone really of note, if I remember right.
No, we had mentioned the Vegas Golden Knights, kind of doing their homework on backup goalies here. I was surprised they didn't make a call on somebody like him.
Yeah.
If he went as cheap as I'm seeing he went for, I think Vegas should at least made a phone call.
Well, I think they're also kind of just like, we've got Oscar Donsk, we've got Maxime Lagacé. So I think if worst case scenario, they go there, and those guys have kind of already proven that they can get that call up and not overperform, but perform well enough that they're going to be okay. So I don't think goalie's really number one issue for for the front office of the Golden Knights. So I think that's what they were probably thinking.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Jumping to our next trade, kind of staying in the same general area, but we'll hop conferences here. Big man, Wayne Simmons. He was an assistant captain for the Philadelphia Flyers for his entire career. He has an emotional farewell after the wonderful Stadium Series game against the Penguins, which if you guys haven't watched any of those Stadium Series or Winter Classic games, shame on you. Simmons leaves Philadelphia for Nashville, making Nashville a tougher, scarier-looking team up front. And I've always liked Simmons' game. I was hoping the Bruins were going to make a move on him. Didn't necessarily materialize. But for the return, again, that bringing up this point, a return on a player I expected to be more. Wayne Simmons almost goes for – he goes way under the value I thought he was. Granted, he wasn't having a great season by his standards, but, you know, a conditional pick and another, you know, middle-tier roster player, I would have thought Simmons would have gone for more. You know, then again, flip side I kind of tell myself on this is maybe this is a guy they didn't want to keep in the Eastern Conference, just move out west. We don't got to worry about this guy going forward. But damn, just looking at Wayne Simmons right now on this Predators roster, I love this move. Absolutely love it.
Right there with you, buddy. Honestly, I love that move. We kind of already knew that Wayne was going to move one way or another. What team? That was really the biggest question. So I love Nashville acquiring it. I mean, they didn't give up much. They're okay with what they gave up. And again, I agree. I think Wayne's going to slot in there nicely and really help them out down the stretch.
I mean, if they can get him on a line with, say, Kyle Turris and Philip Forsberg, like I'm just throwing out the first names that come into my head. I just love their makeup. And, you know, before I even get to their goaltending and defensive core, which is one of the better groupings in the NHL, they solidify a problem they've had up front for the past couple of years, and that was goal scoring and toughness.
Yeah, completely right.
You know, hey, let's look at our weakness and let's try and fix that. Like, that's trade deadline 101. Look for where you need help and go get it. And credit to the Predators for, you know, realizing, yeah, we're in first place, but we're not going to get complacent right now because Winnipeg's on our tails. St. Louis is surging up the standings. Then you got, you know, Calgary and Vegas and the Sharks in the Pacific that are going to be right there. You need to do something to separate yourself from these teams and not get, you know, complacent of being in first place in, you know, the end of February. You know, you got to think longer down the line. Now, if he comes back on, you know, any kind of deal to the Predators, it's a win right there. But just the trade itself, Nashville took care of business, and that's just putting it plain and simple.
Yeah. Again, love what Nashville did at the trade deadline. I think they definitely are, at least for me, the winners of it. Side note: did you like or dislike the burnt orange Flyers jerseys for that outdoor game?
I didn't have a problem with them. I really love the Penguins getup. That black and yellow always just strikes just nice. But I didn't have a problem with the Flyers going with a different shade of orange than they're normally used to. But the whole spectacle, the setting at Lincoln Financial in Philly, Philly's got some trashy people there, but their sports fans are top notch. They deserve better. But they don't deserve a Super Bowl in my eyes, but that's for the other show. But then capped off by Gritty. We don't deserve Gritty. God, I love that mascot. We have a bear on skates.
Gritty went streaking. By the way, the Flyers wore those jerseys again tonight. Against who did they play? The Sabres. They wore them again tonight against the Sabres. I didn't like that move.
Might as well use them if you have them in the closet. I know Adidas has been slow to kind of give us a little bit more jerseys options since they took over the NHL last year. We're getting a few here and there, but I like to see a little bit more diversity in the jersey game.
I want the Stars black jerseys to come back. The ones that have either just say Dallas or the ones with the star.
We're saving that for a later show. You know, put that back in the chest. So just because we're mentioning cool jerseys, and I know how much you love the Shark Stealth Mode jerseys, newest Shark, Gustav Nyquist, Alex. What are you thinking?
Love it. I'm okay with that move. Kind of solidify the guys underneath above the top six. Not anything crazy, amazing out of him. I mean, I think he's only scored 20 goals once in his career. Big whoop. But I kind of like it. I think I would not. I would be remiss to saying like he's a Swede. So I definitely think Eric Carlson had a little bit of recruiting that he did on his side. Um, don't know if that's really allowed within the rules, but hey, whatever, I'll take it. So yeah, I like Gustav Nyquist coming over here to San Jose. Think he's just going to kind of anchor down the third line and make sure that we're kind of just a little bit stronger on that end. As far as San Jose, I don't think they needed to do anything too crazy. So I think this Gustav Nyquist acquisition was kind of the right move. Didn't really, I don't think we gave up anyone too crazy.
You only gave up picks. Conditional second and conditional third.
Yeah, I'm okay with draft picks, considering the fact that I think the Sharks are very much in a win now mode.
And I know he was line mates with this player last year, but when the Knights went out and acquired Thomas Tatar at the deadline last year, they were expecting big things out of someone who, again, underperformed on a slowly but not outright saying it rebuilding team. I kind of look at Gustav Nyquist and think he's in a similar situation to where, yeah, he's played, let's see, 62 games this season, and he's sitting at 49 points. Not a bad number to be at. Yeah, 16 goals, 33 assists, but he wasn't exactly blessed with talent right now in Detroit. And now he's sliding in a San Jose lineup, which has a pretty decent top six by NHL standards. So just off the top of your head, Alex, give me your lines for your Sharks now with Gustav Nyquist sliding in.
Okay, so the first line stays unchanged. I think it's Couture, Kaner, EK9, and Pavelski. Yeah, not Hurdle, depending on who wants to play right wing, because Hurdle's not really a center anymore. Then I'll give you Thornton. I'll give you Pavelski, Meyer, Thornton. On the third line will be Gustav Nyquist, Kevin LeBanc, and Joe Thornton. Wait, no, I already said Joe Thornton. Melker. Oh, we'll throw Melker Carlson in there. Why not? Who cares? Because Peter DeBoer loves Melker Carlson. And then fourth line is going to be a mishmash of Jonas Donskoy, Dylan Gambrell whenever he shows up, if he wants to show up. Michael Haley, because we acquired him from Florida. And yeah, whoever wants to play that night, really, because I mean, I think those guys are they're going to be healthy scratches pretty in and out of the season.
Well, this definitely signals that the Sharks are going for it.
Oh, Lucas Verdeel. I forgot. Wow, I'm sorry, Lucas Verdeel. He's going to be on that line with Thornton and Kane probably.
Yeah. So as I was saying, the Sharks, again, smart move. Add to your core. You're in a playoff position right now. Get better while you can. Don't wait around and hope things improve along the line. My only thing with like someone of Gustav Nyquist's caliber is he going to be used correctly? Is he going to have the right line mates? Because when you went up and down that list, Alex, what stands out is you have a lot of guys who can do a lot of different things. Both whether it be offensive or defensive minded. You want to get the right combination, and you want to get that consistency sooner than later. So my only concern is how is he going to fit into a San Jose lineup that's already done fairly well this season.
Yeah, I think that's up to coach to figure that out and kind of see who he practices well with. I mean, if I'm trying to think of who he was with today, and I'm drawing a blank here. But I mean, let's be real. We wanted to forget about that game as quickly as possible. But yeah, no, I think that's all really up to coaching and just kind of figuring out where he's going to fit in nicely. He was not a starter, but he did. Oh no, he did. He did start today. So it was Thornton at center, LeBanc on the right wing, Nyquist on the left. So yeah, that's really. Oh, yeah, and so that's really kind of where we're slotting him in. And yeah, I think he may move up and down. I'd like to see him on the Hurdle Donskoy line, and maybe you move Kane up to with Couture and Meyer down with Thornton. We'll see.
Well, moving on from the Sharks, they played a game against the Boston Bruins tonight, and the Bruins came out winners 4-2-1. Bruins were also players at the trade deadline. They made two decent moves in my eyes, bringing in Charlie Coyle and Marcus Johansson. Touching on Charlie Coyle first, he comes from Minnesota as what I feel is a player that just need a change of scenery. I've always liked his two-way game. I think he can help the Bruins both as a winger and as a third-line center. I've seen him succeed in Minnesota before, but I just haven't seen it out of the Wild lately that they can do it on a consistent basis. So Charlie Coyle comes back home to Massachusetts. He's a Weymouth kid. Love having him back home. I'm optimistic he can make a difference for the Bruins, but the big knock on the Bruins was not going after the big fish almost, because they're still chasing Tampa Bay. Mind you, Tampa Bay sitting at 100 points now, and we're still not even in March. That's insane. But regardless, you have to do something to, as I've been stressing this whole podcast, is bring in players that are going to help you down the line. And I think that's what Charlie Coyle brings. The second move with Marcus Johansson, that was another, not a flashy one, but he brings somebody in that's going to help. You can almost stick him anywhere in this lineup, and I think he contributes in more ways than one and didn't come as much as a cost. And, yeah, people are going to be like, well, if they fall short to Tampa Bay again, they didn't spend enough, or why did they get complacent? They went for the safe move rather than the risk, high risk, high reward. I don't know if you can necessarily knock it for that reason because, again, you have to see the on-ice product. You have to see how it comes together. You have to see if it's going to be a full first to fourth line success. And that's why I think these two players can help, is improve in spots where your bottom nine was looking shaky at times. Oh, and you also get David Pastrnak back here in the next couple weeks, assuming he'll still be good to go. So they're going to be in pretty good shape here going down the stretch run. You're not going to catch Tampa, so just make sure you hold on to second place in the Atlantic, so at least you'll have the home ice advantage again when you take on Toronto in the first round, because that's what it's looking like as the rest of the Atlantic starting to trickle down a little bit. But I digress.
First note about the Bruins, Pastrnak is slowly but surely becoming a superstar in the NHL. I don't know if you've seen his Dunkin' Donuts bit when he goes to the penalty box. No? Okay. Go. It's they have a Dunkin' Donuts commercial that goes to the penalty box and orders a nice coffee. So you'll have to look that up later. Also, love. I don't know if if anybody's seen this, is the video of him. So he thought that Travis Scott's Astroworld, when Travis Scott goes, someone said, he thought that it said sunset, and him explaining that to people is just absolutely hilarious. Again, go find that video. I think it's Spit and Chicklets. I don't know who it is. I think it's Barstool, right? I don't know. And then, so John, this question's really for you. Do we think that Donato was given up on too early?
That was going to be something I was going to touch on. Is I don't know if it was necessarily given up on. That's one of your better trade chips, and you knew you're going to have to part with somebody in your system, or that was going to be a contributor down the line, maybe. But Donato even came out and said it after his first game with the Wild, where he actually did net a goal, that he felt the coaching staff had lost faith in him, that they didn't give him the fair shot he was looking for at the time. And yeah, it's going to come down to hard decisions like that of moving young players that I expect him to get better. I think he's going to be a fine player in this league, and maybe just wasn't now for him in Boston. And I don't want to say necessarily gave up on him, but you knew you were going to have to pay some kind of price to get a player like Charlie Coyle. Does Ryan Donato have a better career than Coyle down the line? We'll have to see. But for right now, I think it's one of those trades where each team can be satisfied with what they got in return.
Agreed. I think Donato. I think you're right. I think Boston just kind of was in an awkward position with them. So, I mean, 22 years old. You hate to see it, but glad that he's getting a resurgence there. And so, hey, the Mark Stone line pays off. Goal for Pacioretty. So, Yeah, I think just I'm happy for Coyle coming back home from Weymouth, Mass, and then Ryan Donato goes to Minnesota. But they also gave up, and I don't know, we should have mentioned this earlier. So sorry, Nashville. Uh, Nashville gets Mikael Granlund from this team as well.
Yeah, I was looking at that deal when I was going through Nashville, and I'm trying to think where he's going to succeed on a team like this, because I've never seen Nashville really like. They're just not a team I see doing well with finesse players, because they're very they're the big tough guys that can just grind you for 60 minutes on the ice. Not saying Grantland doesn't belong on this team, but I just think it's a weird fit for him.
Yeah, agreed. I think there is a spot for him on the ice, and I think we'll see him become really crucial down in the playoffs. But going back to Boston, um, moving on to the other trade that they did, how do you feel about Marcus Johansson coming from New Jersey?
Well, again, when I touched on Johansson, I think he can play anywhere from the first line all the way down to the third line, and he can play both, center and both wing spots. So it's give yourself an insurance policy, and not like last year when they were signing, Brian Giunta and these other, vets that almost they had no spot on this team. And when you're out in front of issues like this, you can at least give yourself room for error and an idea to adjust down the line, say if things aren't working the way they're expected to. And if you need to fix something, you at least have the assets to do it, because you want to address these, before the trade deadline, and you're left with no options, and you're having to call some player to come off his couch and like, oh, hey, I need you to help me in this playoff run.
Yeah, Brian Giunta, the captain of the USA hockey team at the Olympics last year. Let's not forget.
We know
Um,
about that.
no, yes, I agree with you. I think Johansson's going to fit in really nicely there. With
Him and Marchand did bury the hatchet from last year after after Brad gave him a nasty little elbow, but they even came out today and said that's water under the bridge. It's done and over with.
good, I love to hear it. So I think Tampa still is the team to beat there in that division. Um, I mean, hey, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think that when I was going to look at the standings earlier today that I was going to see Boston still in second. But hey, that's good.
Got to hang in there somehow. Let's see what else we got on this trade wire. New York Rangers, they sent Kevin Hayes over to the Winnipeg Jets. So Hayes brings a solid two-way game to a Jets team that, added depth as a first-place team. We kind of saw them run out of gas towards the end of the playoffs last year when they were eliminated by the Knights. I think Hayes gives them a little jolt on the back end of the forward core. So you can let your top six forwards fly up the ice, put some pucks on the net, get some goals. And then you can bring in a player on Hayes on the bottom six, kind of balance things out and take the pressure off those guys. They did have to pay a little bit. They gave up a first rounder for this year, a conditional pick down the line, as well as roster player Brendan Lemieux. Not a flashy trade by any means, but again, those are those little trades that can actually help you down the line. So a sneaky, sneaky good pickup for Winnipeg in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, Rangers definitely tried to kind of just get rid of what they could. Also trading away McQuaid and who else? Matt Zuccarello. So yeah, I think it's a sneaky good pick. I think Winnipeg, honestly, down the line is going to be kind of looked at as one of those teams that had an amazing trade deadline. They picked up Kevin Hayes. They picked up a couple other guys that they were just kind of looking for. Why am I drawing a blank right now? Oh yeah, Nathan.
Boy, Nathan
yeah, however you say. And
maybe
even though
all their vowels.
and even though he's kind of a depth guy, you're going to pick up Bogdan Kislevich and Par Lindholm. We'll see if they really end up doing anything in Matt Hendricks. So, I mean, the Jets were definitely active. I think they were just trying to solidify their bottom six. I mean, I think we know that the line A line isn't going anywhere. So I think they were more worried about just adding depth to their roster.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. Calgary Flames. Oh, they did make a move. They were able to get Oscar Fantenberg from the LA Kings for a conditional pick in 2020. I saw Fantenberg in person when I went to the Bruins Kings game. Not impressed.
Yeah, I
Impressed.
mean,
I was surprised to see the Kings not try and move Alec Martinez as well. A few weeks ago, they did trade Jake Muzzin to the Leafs, so I was surprised they didn't sell off as much as they should have.
yeah, no, I think the Kings were definitely not trying to oversell, but I think they could have done more. I mean, Tyler Toffoli's a good piece. That he didn't get moved.
No,
Yeah, he
he's
didn't get
put. Kolovachuk stayed put. Obviously, Kopitar wasn't going anywhere. Martinez stayed.
Jeff Carter stayed.
Stayed.
Your Ledoux's and what's his name Kempes didn't move. Side note: impressive game by the Kings last night in Tampa.
Which you don't say very often.
You don't, but I mean, they lost in a shootout, but not without giving a damn.
I think that pretty much covers most of these deadline moves. I'm still scrolling through, just making sure I touched on the major ones. Everything else was low-level guys. Well, the Avalanche picking up Derek Brassard from the Panthers.
I'll mention one that I kind of liked. Sabres bringing up Brandon Montour. I think it was kind of a similar situation with Boston and the Ducks, or Boston and Donato. The Ducks kind of had given up on Brandon Montour.
The Ducks have given up in general. Don't.
The Ducks had given up in general, but I like the fact that they were like, hey, we're going to trade him away. Montour's going to. I mean, the Sabres are on the outside looking in right now, but who knows?
So now that the deadline has passed us here, which team do you think set themselves up the best now for the stretch run going to the playoffs?
I mean, I think the easy answer here is Vegas, just picking up that kind of offensive firepower. But Nashville's definitely there. I mean, Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg just kind of like you had said earlier, had a need and addressed it, and now they're looking good.
All right, and then who would you say is going to regret not making a move here at the deadline?
I'm going to say two teams here. So I think Calgary could have done a little bit more. Fattenberg, not really someone you think as a game changer.
Damned.
And then Islanders. I think the Islanders, they're in first place right now. They're comfy. They could have made some moves, man. I mean, you've got guys there that you could have just sent somewhere for something. I mean, there's still Jason Zucker was someone that was talked about getting traded. He didn't get moved, but damn, New York, like, come on, like, make a move. You're right now, you're poised to be in a playoff spot, but you're going to have to change something here in the playoffs because teams are going to be able to figure you out.
And especially relying on team hockey the way the Islanders have been, there's no question that they've been the surprise of the NHL this year, not only losing their superstar, but bringing in a new coach as well. I think Barry Trotz has done an amazing job with what he's been presented. And now, like you said, the Islanders are sitting in first place in the Metro, a very tough division. And what's it going to mean now when it comes playoff time? And yeah, I don't know if you saw, they do get to play in the old barn down in Long Island for the first round, but then they have to go back to Barclays, which, like, why even do it at this point? Like, refuse to play in Barclays anymore. Hockey doesn't exist in Brooklyn.
Who knows, man? That entire organization and whatever contract they have set up with Barclays Center, whoever owns it, I don't know who owns it. I'm assuming Barclays, but that's just it. It's all poorly run. It was poorly thought out. It was rushed. I think we can all say that it was them moving to Brooklyn was just awkward and rushed and not well thought out. So, besides that, the product they're putting on the ice is impressive. It's good for them that they're winning. Hockey matters in Long Island now, so it's good.
It always mattered. I know I also mentioned the Blues a little bit here, but I think we got to give more credit to the incredible hot streak they've been on lately. They've surged right back into the thick of it in the Central. Here's a little nugget for you from our good friends at TSN. Goalie Jordan Binghamton. Amongst goalies with 20-plus games played, let me throw some stats at you, Alex. He has 5 shutouts, a save percentage of .93, 1.61 goals against, with a record of 15-2-0-1. Now, I know the goalies don't get all the credit. You have to, the forward and the D-man in front of you play a major role in this as well. But you got to have a good goalie on some nights. And right now, maybe the Blues have finally figured out the goalie spot. Fingers crossed.
Wow, those are crazy numbers. Wow. I know he's a backup, but still, I'm gonna. Well, no, he's not. Wait, is Binnington a backup?
He's starting. He should be.
Okay.
Is Jake still there? I'm pretty sure he never left.
True. One goalie that I do also want to highlight because I think it's really impressive what he's done or what they have done. So Vasilevsky and Louis Domingue, who was rotting away in Arizona literally 1 year ago today. Just an impressive streak. I think they have like 7. They both have 7 shutouts, or no, something ridiculous like that. They just they both went on a 7-game winning streak, and that's just unheard of.
It's impressive. It is impressive. There's no way around it.
No, agreed. I mean, then again, Tampa's just on another world. I don't get to see them very often, but
we might as well give the MVP to Nikita Kucherov. I want to say he's past the 100-point plateau, or he's very close. I'm pretty sure he is. Let me get that for you right now.
Yeah, no, Nikita Kucherov looked great last night against the Kings. He was the only one that didn't score in the shootout, but doesn't matter because they still got the win. Again, another side note: Jack Campbell, no glove.
Yeah, we went over this, how he needs to be replaced from the chick from Mighty Ducks too.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, the cat needs to make an appearance out there in LA.
So, no, I don't want to look at the advanced metric standards. Come on, Hockey Reference. There we go. So in 63 games, he is at 101 points. Oh my goodness, 30 goals.
What in the world? My goodness, this man's a monster.
Last year in 80 games, 100 points. He has about 16, 17 games left in him, and he already passed his point total for the year.
Yeah, agreed. He's pretty nuts. No, Kucherov is definitely going to get the MVP. Let's see if he wins the Conn Smythe. That's really what's going to matter.
And then that was going to be my next point. Tampa is probably most likely going to win the President's Trophy, but nobody ever wants to win the President's Trophy. Is this the year that Tampa can actually buck that trend?
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is that Tampa is just heads and tails above any other team on the ice. I mean,
hey, we're trying.
I know, but that's the thing is you're still 15 points behind them.
We're trying and it's not working. That's the most disheartening part.
It's really the most disheartening part for you guys. I mean, it's ridiculous, but no, I think Tampa is. I mean, they're going to run through whoever they face in the first round. I think right now, who is it? Not the Penguins because the Penguins are out. St. Louis? No, St. Louis is in
conference. Tampa with 100, they would get the first wild card right now. The second wild card. That would be it's tied between the Hurricanes and the Penguins.
Oh yeah, the Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's probably either going to be the Hurricanes, the Penguins, or the Canadians.
Either way, someone's going to get ran train on. Let's be real.
That's what's expected, but we've seen how many times have we seen a President's Trophy winning team get to the playoffs and just stick the bed?
Okay, I'm gonna give you this comparison because I think it's present right now. Remember how I said during the baseball season the Red Sox are gonna end up going on a bad run, and it never happened.
Nope.
That's exactly what I'm expecting out of Tampa. I'm thinking they're gonna have a bad run because you want to play your best hockey in April, May, June. That's not going to happen. I mean, we've been expecting it here for a little while, and yesterday was probably the closest they've come to having a bad game against a Kings team.
And that's, it's expected. You're going to have off nights there. Sometimes those, I forgot how Victor Hedman said it. Those non-cup contending teams, they can be a little scrappy sometimes, and you won't always have, an easy 4-0, 5-1 win. So, there's some games they'll have to grind out and, be prepared to face adversity. And on the note you made about the Red Sox, they never slowed down and they won the World Series.
I mean, shoot, I'm okay. I'm okay with Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos, and all those guys winning a Stanley Cup. Like, yeah, I'd wish it was my team, but I won't hate Tampa for winning it.
The city of Tampa Bay, Florida, does not deserve a good hockey team like the Lightning. I'm sorry, that's just my 2 points.
I mean, I've seen Emily Arena from the outside, and I mean, I've seen the inside of it. It looks like
I more so mean, the fact that it's Central Florida having a top tier hockey team, and their fans could probably not care.
Who is it? It's not Yzerman because he went back to the Red Wings. Who's their GM?
It was Yzerman, but I don't know who took his spot.
Whoever. I mean, Yzerman should get a ring if they win it.
Let me see. Tampa Bay Lightning GM is Julien Brisebois.
Brisebois. Must be French Canadian.
Brisebois.
Is there anything else we want to cover?
No. Stretch run now for the playoffs. Regular season will be wrapping up in about a month or so. Each team pretty much has an idea of where they may or may not end up, or excuse me, where they may end up. We know who's pretty much going to be in the playoffs, and I always love seeing the last couple teams like scrap to get in. So it's just a matter of what team's going to pull their head out of their ass. Vegas. And if some teams can stay the course, Tampa, Winnipeg. And what we expect out of some teams that have been a little bit infuriating down the line. Toronto, Washington, Pittsburgh.
If Pittsburgh misses the playoffs, you know how happy I'd be.
Yeah, I would be happy too, but they're also a good team to have in the playoffs because they're always a good team to watch when, it's showtime.
Are you telling me the people of Raleigh, North Carolina are not going to watch the Hurricanes if they're in the playoffs?
I'm pretty sure the Whalers still have more fans in Hartford than the Hurricane fans have in actual Carolina.
Are you trying to tell me that the University of Clemson will not be up in arms about the Hurricanes being in the playoffs?
Well, first off, I think Clemson is in South Carolina.
It's called the Carolina Hurricanes. They're not called the North Carolina Hurricanes.
They got to figure that out. But regardless, there's a reason they've been bottom 5 in attendance for, the last decade or so. And, yeah, they have cool celebrations, but I don't think anybody still cares.
Yeah, I really do think people just show up to watch how the third period is going to end, if they're going to have a celebration or not.
Just move that team. That team should have just moved to Seattle and then uproot the Panthers to Canada. Just stop it.
Panthers go to Quebec City. Carolina
goes back to Hartford.
Goes back to Hartford. And now we've got Seattle, Quebec City, and Hartford in the league. Atlanta gets a team? Nope. Nope. No way. They've been there, done that, NHL.
They've already suffered enough.
All right, guys. So thanks so much for listening to us ramble about the NHL trade deadline.
Alex, I lost your mic. Did Alex go? Oh, he came back. I might have overran you there because I stopped hearing you.
Oh, my bad.
Problems.
So find us on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, and SoundCloud. Again, Spotify won't return our calls. Those jerks. Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts, if you're listening, hit us up. Yeah, we will have this up soon. I don't know what else we got to say. John, any last words?
Hockey.
It's going to be an exciting end of the season.
Let's end on this nugget. Let's talk about our time in the Staples Center on a Saturday night.
Whoo, buddy. Oh, man. Should I start?
Let me tell you, I even took it out of the mic stand for this one. Boy, oh boy. If those season ticket holders do not hate me and you by now, then I did not do a good enough job, because let me tell you, from puck drop to final horn, it was the business the whole night through. Yeah, we may have been sitting in the cheap seats. We may have been up against the wall of the building, but that did not stop me and you from having fun.
I don't know how many times I said Drew Doughty is not an elite defenseman, and I'm pretty sure there was an old man walking into the arena that wanted to turn around and punch me in the face.
There were a couple, offended spirits there, but as true Californians true fans of California hockey teams, they didn't do nothing about it. They just sat there and took it. How many times did I yell out, "Oh no," during moments when there should have been something positive to go their way, and it didn't happen?
All I'm saying is that they can't be mad because we actually know our hockey.
And that was they're like, damn it, they're accurate and right. There's nothing we can say.
I still think it's hilarious that the Bruins scored more points in LA against the Kings than the Rams did all of the Super Bowl.
I dropped that line and the whole section just cleared out in shame. Oh, I'm looking at you, 326. I gave it to you right on the chin with that one.
All I know, and also someone called Jack Campbell the Kings' best goalie, and I almost couldn't hold the laughter back.
It's been that kind of year for the Kings, to where you're looking at a situation where it's like, how much good Jonathan Quick do we have left? Also, another one I'm giving myself a pat on the back for. Brad Marchand's face-off snipe goal. I scream out, you don't see that in the minors. The family in front of me just lost it, because I still think somewhere Jack Campbell's sitting in the butterfly position like, wait, it came already? What happened? What I missed? Mulligan.
I'm pretty. I mean, we saw the replay and we saw it in person. His glove was up when the puck was already in the back of the net.
What else? Tuukka Rask, hell of a night. Oh, what a night for Tuukka. That's a rough night to be a Tuukka Rask hater.
I'm pretty sure I called him Stonewall Jackson at some point. I don't know where that came from.
Not the best of times to use Confederate war heroes, but neither here nor there. Just a great Saturday night in general to be a Bruins fan, and
amazing hot dogs outside of the arena.
Oh, God, you guys didn't let me stop and get another one. Wait a minute, I live here. I can go get them whenever I want.
You can literally get next thing on the agenda that when I come visit you, I do want to go to a goals game.
Well, there's always the goals game. I think you guys have one more game in Anaheim. We can go bury them for 3 hours.
I think we play in the middle of the week, but we'll figure it out.
As always, a great time going to sporting events with the Bleacher Preachers podcast. Maybe we'll do live content one time, but honestly, I'd rather watch the game and have fun with it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. We're a hoot.
I think back to when we went to the Red Sox Indians game, and another player we were giving the business to was Jabba, but I think he was just over it in general. He just didn't care.
I'm pretty sure that Jabba Chamberlain didn't even know what was happening, because I'm pretty sure. I think he only pitched a third of an inning, and I think you guys put up.
He walked 2 guys, hit another, and then he gave up the grand slam. Then he was up out of there. Also,
yeah, so Johnny
Gent's ticket guy getting us 3 rows up from the baseline. We were too close. Like, I was afraid sitting that close.
I could smell David Ortiz's like just sweat from where I was, and when he was on third base, I was like, "Look at that glorious man on third."
That's your future Dominican president right there. Book it down, 2021. Him and Pedro on the same ticket. They can't lose.
Vice president, or because there is no Secretary of Defense, but we're gonna say that the DR has a Secretary of Defense: Vladimir Guerrero or Bartolo Colon.
There's going to be a glove in every house and a hitting coach in every town. it's going to be a great time to live in the DR. So be on the lookout for that.
Secretary of State probably goes to Fernando Tatis or Moises Alou.
What about Felipe Alou? Save that for the baseball podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Now let's wrap
All right, guys.
guys.
Thanks so much for listening to us ramble. Reach out to us on the tweets. Reach out to us on Instagram. Reach out to us on Facebook. We're being very active on those. So find us. Twitter is Bleach Preach Pod. Bleach Preach Pod. Instagram is Bleacher Preachers Podcast. Facebook, I'm sure you can find us if you look for Bleacher Preachers Podcast. And yeah, guys, reach out to us. Please let us know what you guys like, what you guys don't like. We're also very active on our own Twitters, or at least trying to be. So yeah, give us a call back or give us a shout out there, guys. 312-610. Just kidding. Wait, I'm not at work. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Adios.